Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Lewis Speaks 2023, and today I want to talk to you all about the demonization of male vulnerability. I think that we live in a society right now where, on the surface, we encourage men to be vulnerable, to cry, to express their emotions, but yet and still there's this lingering sense of not only patriarchy and these outdated scripts of what it means to be a man, this false definition of masculinity, but also there exists almost a shaming of male vulnerability. Anytime a man shares how he feels, he's labeled to be a bitch. He's encouraged to, quote, man up. And it's the shaming of male vulnerability that causes men to act out their emotions as opposed to really genuinely express and use their words. I know so many men that are currently in prison and incarcerated because they have struggled to communicate their anger, their frustration, their sadness. There's just a gamut of emotions that they have been socialized to suppress and push down. And I think after years of being encouraged to hide your feelings, to not show emotion, it creates turmoil and it creates distress. And a lot of our men today are in distress. They are in distress and you can see it. I walk every day by my job and I work in a rough area. I work in a very, very rough neighborhood. And you could see the men. They're just broken down. Their spirits are broken. They're walking around and just walking the earth, just existing. They're not living. It feels as though they're possessed by demons. And they are. They're possessed by the demon called societal expectation. Men are oftentimes, as I mentioned earlier, we're socialized to be stoic. We're socialized not to have emotion. We're socialized to always be together and keep it together. We have to always know where we're going. We cannot be lost. As a man, you have to know where you're going. You cannot cry. God forbid that you shed emotion and share tears. Our society still has an issue with men crying. And my thing is this: how many tears must a man shed before he's labeled a bitch? I think maybe 1, 2 is too many. But how many tears can a woman cry before she's labeled emotional, overly emotional? I think we have come to normalize female emotion and demonize male emotion and the expression of male emotion. And I think it's this gross double standard that's causing men to act out their emotions. And in turn, going to jail, dying early. I see so many men. There are so many men where I live. I live in Albany, New York. And right now we're going through an epidemic. There's just a lot of gun violence every single day. There is a young man in the newspaper. I look at the ages, they're getting younger and younger. First 40, then you see 35, then you see 27, then you see 28, then you see all these young men dying at the hands of gun violence, and they're dying prematurely. And it's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate. And that's because they're operating under false definitions of masculinity. We're all out here trying to be real men. I know me personally, I never had a father growing up. My father was addicted to heroin. And him not being in my life really impacted me. It's a struggle even now as an adult man. It's a struggle. It's hard. I find it difficult to relate to men. I find it difficult to really trust men. There's so many after effects and so many side effects of not having that positive, strong male leadership. And there's so many men out there that I see trying to compensate with this alpha male type mentality. They're out here womanizing, abusing women, using women, treating women like inanimate objects, And that's because they never really were socialized to understand true masculinity. From what I understand about manhood, it's about taking accountability and responsibility, but there's so much more to manhood than just that. You know, me personally, I wish I would have grown up with a father who would have watched sports with me, who would have shown me how to appreciate the beauty of women, who would have shown me how to respect women, who would have shown me how to interact with other men in a platonic way without feeling like the only way I can engage with a man is through sex or violence. You know, there's an epidemic now where men are struggling to find other male friendships. They don't have other men friends. They don't know how to connect on that level because, truth be told, to have a friend, you need to be vulnerable. Your friend has to see you vulnerable. You know, you got to be vulnerable. They have to see you in a state of vulnerability in order for them to feel safe with you. And oftentimes, men, we don't feel safe within our bodies. We feel trapped within our bodies a lot of the times. We feel trapped by all these false definitions of all these notions and these beliefs and these prescriptions about what we're supposed to be as men. And when we deviate from that script, we're oftentimes ridiculed, criticized, put down, shamed. And it's that shaming right there that really, really, really creates a trauma. You know, I think men, you know, they have a lot of wounds. For a lot of men growing up, it's a father wound. A lot of them have masculinity wounds. You know, I think we have gotten the message even from other men that we have to be this certain type of way. You know, I know that, for example, my cousin, he grew up, you know, without a father. You know, my uncle, he passed away, gun violence. So he grew up without a father, and his mother was so abusive towards him. I could see that whenever he was vulnerable, whenever he would cry, she would be like, "Shut up, little bitch," just really just putting him down. And now I see him, he's emotionally immature. He's out of touch with reality. He's just out of touch with his emotions. He's not connected to them, which causes him to act out and womanize and just not care. You know, because he operates under this false definition of what it means to be a man, which with some men, it means to control a woman. That makes you more of a man if you're able to control a woman and, you know, walk around like, you know, and right now I'm posturing because a lot of men do that. You know, we have this choreography of manhood and masculinity that causes us to posture and act like we're harder than we really are. But come on, we have to definitely move past that as men. I think that we're now coming into an awareness of the need for male vulnerability, but I think we have so much work that needs to be done around that because we are oftentimes just burdened with these labels and these ideas and these false notions of masculinity. And it's really just, it's killing us. We're dying early. Men are more likely to die early than women. And that's because, for one, we're always trying to act tough. We have a health problem, we don't go to the doctor. We try to tough it out and white knuckle it. You know, we just, you know, we're the lone wolves. We gotta always make sure we're good. And we don't take care of our health. And loneliness, we don't talk about that when it comes to men. You know, loneliness is becoming an epidemic. You know, studies have been done that link loneliness to a variety of health issues. Being lonely is the same as smoking 5 cigarettes daily. This is what they equate it to. It carries the same health risk. You know, there's so many cardiovascular and health concerns that happen as a result of being lonely and not asking for your needs, of not communicating your socialization needs. We all need one another. They say no man is an island unto himself. But oftentimes we're socialized to be those lone wolves, to brave it alone. and not require the help and the support of other people. We oftentimes don't lean into our safety nets. We try to do it alone because we don't want to seem inept, incapable, inadequate. And so we keep on just bearing the burden alone. And we as men have got to stop doing that. We have to learn how to lean into the support of other people as well as give support. It's not just about us getting support, it's a reciprocal. It's about us giving and us receiving support. And I think as men, we also have to learn how to receive support. We're so busy trying to do everything that we really don't know how to embrace the support of other people. And so I think that that's essential. Once again, we just have got to just redefine, reshape, and reconfigure this definition of masculinity because it's killing us. We're trying to bear up under the weight of a definition that's false. And as a result of that, we're dying early. We're living lives that don't even look like anything near what we imagined. We're unhappy. We're depressed. We're sitting here trying our best to just brave it through. And we're struggling. And I think especially now it becomes crucial that we reach out for help, reach out for mental health counseling, reach out for friends and support because we need it. Right now, it's not about luxury. We don't have the luxury of being lone wolves. Right now, this is about survival. This is about survival. The name of this game is called survival. And I think this is why a lot of people, they're just now coming out and they're emerging and they're starting to share what's going on because they're realizing that being locked in your apartment, locked in your mind, locked in your head, locked in your heart, emotions that are frozen, that's not helpful. That's only creating more damage, which oftentimes is acted out via sex, alcohol, drugs, escape hatches. We as men are good at channeling our needs into destructive escape hatches, destructive coping mechanisms. We always do that as a way to cope. We'll drink it away, we'll smoke it away, we'll sex it away, but we won't talk it away. We won't seek professional help and lean into the support of our loved ones. We rather just deal with it. We don't want to be a burden to anybody. We don't want other people to look at us like we can't handle our lives. There's so many reasons why we don't seek help, but those reasons are keeping us captive. And so my thing is this, it takes a soldier, it takes a warrior to acknowledge when they need help and to get the help that they need, especially when that's not who you are. When who you are is a person that tries to keep going, even through the chaos. It takes a soldier to do something different, to do something that's outside of your comfort zone. That takes a warrior. And so I encourage all the men out there, please be warriors. Do something different so that way you don't keep on acting out your pain. Because we need you. We need good leaders. We're losing our leaders every single day. We're losing them to gun violence. We're losing them to drugs, to alcohol, to overdoses. Fentanyl overdoses are an all-time high right now. So we're losing people. We're losing our men, especially our men. And so my thing is this, we need more leaders. We need people that can take the helm, and take the lead, And it's hard being a leader. You're going to have so much pushback. You're going to have people that are just trying their best to undermine your decisions, your autonomy, your leadership. That's natural. But once again, we are created. We are natural born leaders. That is what we were created to be. And so we need to step into our roles. That's how it is. And it's not about leading with an iron fist. It's leading by example. It's leading by support. It's leading by initiative. It's leading by investment. So we have got to get in the game. And I say this to all my men with love because I see that a lot of us are just circling the drain. We're out here just circling, being sucked in. And I'm thinking this, God created us in his image. And there's nothing more that the devil wants but to turn us into something that God doesn't recognize anymore, to disfigure us as a way to mock God's creation. The devil wants to disfigure men and turn them into mutants and monsters and then mock God and laugh in God's face and say, see what I did to your creation? I mutilated it. So my thing is, as men, we have to live in our divinity. We have to live in God's image and support God's image for us, how he created us and wanted us to be. That's important. Because our integrity is what will keep us safe. And that's important. As men, we need safety too. We need safety. We need safe spaces. We need tenderness. We need a place where we can be held. We need a place where we can also exude our strength and not be demonized for that. Because oftentimes when men try to exert their power, it's seen as oppressive in this day and age. Oh, you're trying to oppress. And patriarchy is not masculinity. It's not. Patriarchy is not masculinity. Patriarchy is what happens when masculinity goes wrong. And I don't like the term toxic masculinity. I don't like that. I much prefer the term wounded masculinity because it's true. There are a lot of men out here that are wounded and they need grace. They don't need a label that just creates more chaos and confusion and tries to criticize and beat people down. I don't like toxic masculinity. No, it's wounded masculinity. We have got to change the script because we need grace too. Men need grace. We need understanding. And we also need ourselves. We need to come into an accurate knowledge of who we are as men. I still am learning about my history as a man. I don't know. I didn't have those roots instilled in me. If you have a father, if you have uncles, grandfathers, if you have that legacy of masculinity, it's a blessing. It truly is a blessing. Lean into that because that's going to help. I think having that family system, having that legacy of healthy masculinity, that right there is worth more than riches and gold. That's worth more because you have that to lean into. I know where I come from. I come from a legacy of XYZ. That's why it's so hard nowadays. Our kids, they don't have roots. They don't know where they come from. I'm now understanding, as I mature, the importance of having roots. You gotta have roots. You gotta have those roots to lean into. And you yourself have got to be responsible for creating and building new roots because, let's face it, a lot of the men that we were raised with, they were raised on survival. They weren't necessarily raised on love. They were raised on false definitions of masculinity. And so we have to also, while paying attention to the good aspects, we have to also be willing to break those generational curses. We have to be willing to re-examine, reconfigure, recreate. New patterns, healthier patterns of relating to one another as men and relating to also women. Because how we relate to women is just so abusive. How we talk about one another. How women talk about men, how men talk about women, it's just so abusive. And so I think that as men, we set the tone. We have got to lead once again by example. And so I encourage every man out there today, not tomorrow. Don't focus so much on yesterday. Focus on this moment. In this moment, you will be the king that God created you to be. You will lead by example. Every step you take is a step that's walking towards that endeavor. So I wish all my men out there a successful journey. I'm with you on this journey, Every single day, I'm taking this step with you. Just know that you're not alone in this journey. I wish everybody a wonderful 2023. Peace, y'all.